Hey Andre, how's it
Good
going?
morning.
Welcome to the podcast, Relentless Pressure Stories of Resilience.
Thank you.
Resilience will be the theme of the podcast. So, I saw in your notes that you broke down your life into three phases. So, how about
Hmm.
we start off with phase one?
Absolutely. Like whatever you you want to go with. Absolutely. Are we like on now? Are we
Yeah,
like
yeah,
live now?
yeah. It's recording.
So it's recording. But I mean, are we started officially? Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go for it.
Sweet. So I'm sorry, I just got derailed for a second. I was I had a question. Um, so you want to start with phase one?
Yeah, let's start with phase one. Your journey, some of the pressure points you faced in that stage of your life, and how you overcame it.
Yes. So again, it's a story of resilience. That's kind of oof, that's my life.
Yeah,
That's my life. So should I introduce myself first? I
yeah.
wonder.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll move into phase
For
one.
sure, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. So, my name is Andre Paradis. I'm a relationship coach and NLP coach. Is NLP stands for neuro linguistic programming. This is how I help people, my clients, with removing the trauma and of their past, removing the baggage they carry on their nervous system. That's a fantastic, beautiful, quick way to heal, the old injuries. I'm also an educator of effective communication strategies. Ooh, that's a mouthful. But in my world, relationship, men, women, or business relationship, family relationships, all relationships, communication is the thing that baffles us the most. Part of that is right. Besides everybody's got a style of, approaching people a certain way with righteousness or guilt or right. There's all these layers, but men and women, the biggest one is men and women speak and listen completely differently. Sounds ridiculous, right? Like because we look at each
How
other.
so? How does let's distinguish the two.
It's a long story a little bit, but in a nutshell, when you talk to a woman, what you're saying is not what she's hearing. Because when they speak, they don't speak directly like we do. So we speak directly, they speak indirectly. They speak with a lot of hints and innuendos. Because to them, this is a paradigm of anthropology, and to speak directly would be too direct and rude, right? So they speak with, so a woman won't say to a man, like if you have a girlfriend and you're wearing a like canary yellow shirt, she will not say to you, I don't really like that shirt on you, babe. That color is horrible. Right? She'll go, is that what you chose to wear? Hoot, right? So, and you go, yeah. Well, what if it gets hot? What do you mean? What if it gets cold? What if we go out somewhere? Like she'll say 17 things around, and you're supposed to guess because this is where they think, because they communicate that way, woman to woman. For them, it's obvious. That means I don't like that shirt. But to us, you're not saying that. So I'm listening to what she's saying and responding to that, and she's thinking, God, he's so dumb. They don't speak the same way. So, and then when
From my experience, that could be a bit frustrating because it leaves you
it's very
guessing, and
frustrating,
you start
completely.
overthinking. Wait, why did I choose this shirt?
Right, and all this stuff, and then often the guy will go into like, I like it, I'm comfortable, like I don't, because she's not saying I don't like that color on you, she's saying everything but, and often will blow her off, like, I like it, I'm fine, I'm comfortable, I don't care, right? And she's like, oh, right, as opposed to, so women speak indirectly, and we don't get it most of the time, seriously, at all. This is just one layer. There's 18 layers in that frame, and what happens to us is when we speak to them, we speak to them directly. And because they speak in innuendos and hints, right? They go, so I say something, and she says, you'll hear this woman say this all the time. What do you mean by that? Right? No, I just said it. Well, are you mad at me? I'm like, no, this is what I'm saying. So you don't want to see me anymore? Like, seriously, like, they don't hear the words because they speak this way. So when we talk to them, they think we speak this way. So this is a huge problem between men and women. So imagine that at work, first in your love dynamic, at work with your mother, you found it's incredibly frustrating, and everybody thinks the other one is misbehaving. We don't communicate the same way at all, and there's many layers. So that's just one. Anyway, you got me going now. Good morning.
That's a good start. Good start.
Yeah, fair
Oh,
enough.
okay, so you're a relationship dynamics coach.
Yes.
You help build a communication bridge between men and women, but you weren't always that. So
Yeah. No.
let's start from the beginning. Let's go
Phase
to phase one.
Phase one, three phases of my life. Phase one was I realized at 5 years old. This is dramatic part of my story. 5 years old, I realized I was born in the wrong family.
Hmm. How so?
Well, I was born with this feeling that something was wrong. And I have a lot of memories, even as a toddler, something was wrong. That's just something that was carrying with me. So when I pressed, I pressed my mother about this much later in life, but I discovered it made complete sense that I was an accident. I was unwanted pregnancy, and she hated being pregnant with me because I ruined whatever it is was going on in their lives at the time. It was circumstantial, but obviously I was born with that feeling like I don't belong here. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm a mistake. She's not happy with me. She didn't really want me, and proceeded on treating me that way. So it took me like to 5 years old to put my feelings and my thoughts together. You know what I mean? Because before that, you're just a bundle of feelings.
Right.
But when the logic at five, when I put the two together, I'm like, oh, wow, I don't like this is these are not my people. I don't belong here. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm a mistake. I'm not supposed to be here was my go-to, which is exactly what she felt, right? Not supposed to be here. So what do you do with that at five in a family of seven?
Not much.
Right.
You're
Well, a freak out, terrifying, realizing that, I could disappear. I could tumble down the stairs. Nobody would really notice. Like, not
that's
for a while
that's
anyway.
a horrible feeling, right? Feeling
That's a
powerless.
horrible,
You're stuck somewhere, but you can't get out.
right.
Yeah.
And you're 5 years old.
Right.
And then I get so I instantly got the awareness that I'm going to have to take care of myself, right? I'm going to raise myself. I'm going to have to be my own at five forward. So part of what happened there is that my, again, it was baffling and terrifying. So what happened is my radar kind of turned outward, and I started watching the world, people trying to understand my circumstances first. Like, how's that possible? How can you be wrong in the wrong house? Like, how does that explain that to me? Right? Impossible. So I became an observer of people with that. At school, I was the guy in the corner watching everyone because I was watching it to learn, like, how does this person that turn out like this? This guy's got swag at 15. How does this have swag at 15? He doesn't know anything. He's not any better than me, but look at him. He pulls his hair back and the
I
girls
definitely
fade.
had no swag at 15.
Me neither.
I
Me
would play
neither.
baseball and then just play video games at home.
Yeah. But I remember this guy in my class. He's like 15 years old. He had like straight hair, a little bit shaggy, and he would just kind of throw his hair back and it'd fall back in his face, like Flint Rider, if you you know what I mean, type thing. And the girls would fade, and he's just what? Like he just kind of had his swag, right? And this one's a geek, and I'm a dork, and I'm blending in the wallpaper, and like so even the women, right? Like, how do you get to be you? Like, how does that happen? That was fascinating to me. So I became fascinated with the human condition and watching people and watching
Interesting.
people and watching people my whole life. So I developed kind of a higher, I mean, we all have that potential, but I developed a high connectivity, I want to say,
Well, maybe emotional intelligence as well.
if you want to call it that. Sure, sure.
Yeah.
But like, I could actually now the ability to, I could be with somebody, I could be with you. And if I tap into you, I'll feel what you're feeling.
Interesting. So a high level of empathy, you'll be able, yeah.
No, all from that paradigm, from starting at five, just watching and feeling people. Like I could, like But one of my favorite things to do sometimes when I was younger, I would sit at the mall and watch people walk by and pick out their energy. Pick out, like I could tell an angry woman, I could tell a well person, I could tell somebody who's sad, somebody who's depressed. Like I could tell, I could
Yeah.
literally tap into them. It's kind of wild. It's really wild, and um, it's really helpful now for my work. At the time, this was just something I noticed. So that sort of started this whole awareness thing, people thing, understanding life thing. Why am I here then? And didn't really think I was going to be here long because I don't belong here. Do you know what I mean? So that was sort of where I was operating from. Um, but there's a part of me, and it's really kind of beautiful. But there was always a tug in my heart. There was this thing like right here, like a string that kept saying, there's something for you to do here. Like, this is not for you to quit. This may not make any sense, but pull, pull, keep going, keep going, keep going. There's something about this. This not kind of a God little whisper, I call it, that we kid just kept me here, just kept me here.
Right.
But it was not easy. So phase one of my life started right after this. So when my dad was very successful, and we all went to private school, and when I went into senior year, uh, the school had a senior year of high school into college. It was a 4-year program. This is back east. It's not the same here in the United States. There was Canada. Um, and so even your senior year in high school, you treat like a college kid. So you pick your own classes, you make your schedule, right? It was actually really well done. Um, I was a swimmer. You find me alone at the bottom of the pool. That's where I was comfortable. Seriously.
Really?
At the bottom of the Olympic pool, 15 feet of water sitting at the bottom, just chill.
Well, I
Like
guess
it
it's
was
I like to free dive. It is meditative, I will say.
absolutely, it's like being in an embryo, literally, like, or in vitro, right? It's just sort of, it's a different reality.
Right. It just calms you
Complete,
down, no thoughts at all. You're
right?
right in the
Seriously.
present moment.
It would like hold my breath for like 5 minutes, sit in the bottom, come back, take some air, go back down and sit. And
5 minutes
just
is a long time. That's that's
Yeah,
pretty
no, I
impressive.
trade myself. Literally, it took a while, but like that because I want to be down there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was a swimmer, sort of, slash, bottom of the pool kind of guy, bottom dweller. The first week of that school, like I said, I'm 15 years old, almost 16. Um, getting the schedule up, signing up for your classes, and this young, pretty girl who I didn't know, I'd seen her, but I didn't know she knew I existed. Comes up to me, she goes, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! I want to take ballroom for PE." We had a ballroom freaking program for PE, and she says, "We have to sign as a couple. You want to dance with me?" And we're going, "What?" Right? Cute little thing, this big in my arms. Yeah, right.
Sure, why
And
not?
don't have to change for PE, right? For the pool is back east. It's always cold, even if it's indoors, whatever. So, um, week later or so, first class ever. Like I said, I'm a teen. I invisible, confused, sad, and really have seemingly no talent for anything. I just haven't discovered anyway. But first class, I remember the teachers in my right. I think we did a cha cha. I believe we did a cha cha the first thing ever. I had the girl in my arms, and this was like magic moment number one. Everything the teacher did, I could just copy it like instantly. Poop, poop,
It just came
poop.
like, yep,
It was
it's
there. It was there.
natural
Like,
for you.
yeah, it was there. Like I already knew it, and you're reminding me, like that kind of presence to it, and it was baffling, And then we changed a new variation. Doop, I had it. Another variation. Doop, I had it. Right. So I go from invisible geek into dance class, and in 4 months, I'm the kid. I'm the star of the class. Like all the girls want to dance with me because the guys don't get it fast enough, and I could swing them around every which way, and they watch her getting spun around. They go, "I want some of that." Right. So like,
Did you
literally,
feel like you found your purpose right there?
I smiled for the first time in my life in that class.
That's
Like I
good.
think like just it lifted my spirit, right? And it's something about musicians know this, singers know this. The frequency of music, when you line it up with the frequency of your body, when you move to it together, like when those two frequencies hit together, it moves your heart. It just lifts your spirit. It's just right. You've seen singers cry in the middle of a song because like that vibrational and connecting with the song. So dancing is the same. So for me, it's just kind of literally I took a breath, like, whoa, like this makes me feel good, and again, the physicality also creates endorphins and dopamine and all that stuff. So all this good juices kind of started, and I was hooked. I mean, I didn't care about school. I care about dance class. So 4 years of this, literally, I was a star. We started doing production every quarter in school, auditorium and or theater, and we started performing outside. We created a group, and we started performing outside the school. Like it's just that was that was what kind of brought me back to life. Really, that's all I wanted to do. It lifted my spirit, and ultimately, it saved my life. So, because what I did is that I was a teen. So at 19, I moved to the West Coast, getting away from my family. Um, Ballroom was everywhere on the East Coast, everywhere. Like salsa, I'm in Los Angeles. Everywhere you go, there's a salsa club. Like everywhere, every corner, every club, salsa. Back then in Quebec, back in those days, it was ballroom. Everybody was ballroom dancing. So that's how we got to be in part of the program. It was in the culture. I go to the West Coast, doesn't exist.
So there's an opportunity for you there.
There's no opportunity for me in the West
Well, I
Coast.
mean, if you look at it as an entrepreneur, you could have started your own studio.
I'm 19 years old. I don't know
Right.
who I am. All
Right,
I
right,
know is
right, right,
I
right.
could dance, right? I don't know who
Right.
I am yet.
Yeah.
So
So what do you do? You feel like you have no tribe. So what do you do at that point?
I'm just pushing through day to day, right? So what had happened is I got settled in Vancouver. I had a roommate, a girl who's I used to work with. So um we used to go dancing, me and her at a club all the time. She's like, "Oh my God, you're so like you just like it's just come alive when you dance. It's just like everything like there's a new you in front of me when you dance. You're built for that. You're made for that." And she knew I was a ballroom dancer. I didn't dance ballroom with her, but she goes, "You got to go back to dancing. This is part of who you are." This is her saying this to me. Like I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever. So one Saturday morning, because we were both off of work, she's like, we're going to dance class. But it's not a ballroom class, it's jazzercise class. It's, jazz dancing with the jazz hands and leg warmers and headbands. And I'm like, really? That's really not what I do. She goes, you need to dance. So anyway, we went to class, took class. I thought it's an hour of conditioning before you dance, right? All the stretching, all the the strength building, the alignment. So it was a whole different beast, which I found fascinating. And that kind of like, oh, well, this is okay. So I kept going. Started every Saturday, and then it was Saturday and Tuesdays, and it was Saturday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. At the time I was in construction, I was the guy at the bottom of the pile in the construction site. I would pick up the cement bags and the bricks and the right the rebar. Like I was the monkey on the site at the bottom of it. But I was making a living, and then
Right.
after working, I'd go to the dance class, and it became sort of a continued because that's the only thing that I want to do. Right?
Right,
Like to
because
say,
it's something that you were naturally good at, but
yeah,
also you were able to find your tribe, right? The people that share the same interests as you, and
yeah.
that's what humans are meant to do, right? We're social
Straight
beings.
up, straight up. Like on the dance floor, on the studio, on the wooden floor, I was home. Like that was safe. That was my refuge. This is where I kind of recharged. This is where I came to life. This is where I
For
felt better.
me, it's jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai.
Right,
As soon
beautiful.
as I started jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, I'm like, oh, I'm not the best, I'm not the greatest, but it's something that I could work towards. And
Absolutely.
I like the people within the community. And
Well, this,
it
yeah,
made me feel like a whole human being.
totally, totally. And then also I did jujitsu for years as well with the Gracies here in Los Angeles. It was
Nice.
incredible with my kids. It was an amazing,
It's
amazing
also
community.
meditative. It's
All of it,
meditative. It
all of
calms
it,
you down. I
all of
highly
it.
recommend it for anyone out there.
Yeah,
And
no,
it's the community. The community really is what
the
sets it apart.
community and there's a spirituality to it that
Yes.
people don't really understand until you actually get into a dojo. Um, there's a spirituality. It's almost like a church.
And
This
you gotta find the good dojo. There's some
right,
out there that
right.
aren't
Like
so great, but
well, like
if you find any of the Gracies are obviously
yeah,
solid, so
yeah,
you'll be in good
yeah,
hands.
for sure. Anyway, so I get that you get that. So the place where you find yourself being the best you, or the more comfortable you, or the more at ease you, the more and learning at the same time. So what was what was crazy is within 3 months of that, they gave me a scholarship. Like he can't hardly stand up after 3 months of jazz dancing once or twice a week, right? Like even though I increased they gave me scholarship. I'm like, what? They go, yeah, we have talent, and we'd like to support you, and it's exchange, right? So I trained for free, and I help in the studio. Okay, and that never stopped. I went from scholarship after scholarship after scholarship. I never paid for my training, um, which was interesting, right? It sort of seemed to happen despite me, without me, not really planning. I was still thinking. I was born in a family. All my siblings. I have three brothers and a sister. I'm number four. My older brother's a lawyer. My second brother's a lawyer. His whole life now he's Superior Court judge of Canada. Right? These are ballers, right? My sister's a CPA, but like also a fundraising incredible, like like what she produces insane,
Yeah, so
right?
all accomplished white collar men.
Hyper accomplished and hyper heady. I'm a
Yeah.
dancer. And my little brother, like my sister's a CPA at the core, and she just took it in different level. So they're all. I was raised to go to school. I was raised to get a career. So as I'm doing this, surviving, dancing for fun, doing construction just because I had to survive. I have no training. I have no resources. I have no money. I have no family. I have nobody to lean on. It's me. Right? Get behind it. So, but the scholarship kept playing, and I thought, like, what is this? Like, what is this? It keeps pulling me that way, and it doesn't make any sense. How are you gonna make a living at dancing? Like, really, this doesn't make any sense. And again, my linear brain, you have to go to school, but I had no means, like, right? So as these things kept happening, uh, it was undeniable that it was pulling me that way. And I thought, well, it makes me happy. I like doing it. It's working for me. It's sort of clearing my brain. It's actually, like I said, I got healthier and healthier. It changed my chemistry of my brain. My depression went away. I wanted to live. I wanted to be here. I wanted to be happy. There was like life opened up for me potentially. Like this could work. This could be pretty good, I think. Right. So that's slowly kind of what happened. Um, And then I thought, okay, so let's give it a couple of years. I have to try because it seems to be pulling me, without me trying, right? So let's just see what happens. And if it doesn't work out, then I'll go back to school. And then I could always live with myself saying I tried.
Right.
Well, it just went full out crazy, like unbelievable. So within 2 years from there, 3 years from there or so, I was fully trained. I was fully competitive. Um, and I flew to Los Angeles. Actually, I drove with my girlfriend to Los Angeles because one of the guys in the business of dancing, there's summer programs and everything, right? In cheerleading and dancing, there's competitions and stuff all over the country all the time. If you're not in the dance world, you don't know this, but it's everywhere. Every dance competition, dance companies, summer camps. So the guy, some of the people that came up to us, Vancouver from LA, constantly on the summer program and as a guest teachers throughout the years, I end up assisting them because I was the one in class that so they come by themselves, but anyway, so I was become the teacher's assistant for the guest teachers. Anyway, so one of them who was a regular who'd been up a few times, really liked me, was doing this demo reel in Los Angeles. Like his demo, like, actors have demo reels. He's a choreographer. So he says, come to LA for a couple of weeks. You can stay with me, bring the girl. And he goes, I'm shooting my demo reel. I want you to be dance captain and direct the crew. So I came here for vacation for 2 weeks with my girlfriend. 2 days into being in Los Angeles, we get here on Thursday night. By Saturday night, I'm at a party in the studio where we're rehearsing at. There's a party for dancers. These are people that I want to be part of, but I'm a tourist. Well, in that party, I got scouted and I got my first professional job. Like a
Really?
freaking movie. Like a freaking movie. Like, just, hey, I've been looking for a guy just like you for 4 months. I have this job, national tour. Are you interested? Personal job.
You got to
Like,
say yes. Of
well,
course.
yeah, like a movie, right? It's like a movie, like crazy stuff, like serendipity in my life, just things lining up without me trying. Interesting. Anyway, so I did that for a year and a half. It was Chippendales. I was a backup dancer, not a stripper. You need to look the part. So the reason why you had a hard time finding somebody to replace them because they wanted fit guys who can dance, and that's rare. Even though guys dancers tend to be thin, they're not fit. They're not muscular. They don't have six packs. They don't. They just don't. Right? There's usually very twinky. Anyway, so I look like this. I'm muscular. Right. So I looked the part, but I could dance. And so I got it. Great job. A year and a half on the road. Come back to Los Angeles. I quit after a while because it was getting me nowhere but money. I had a career to build. I was fully trained. I was right. But with that money, I allowed myself to, get settled in Los Angeles, got an agent, right? Started auditioning for music videos at the time were very popular, commercials, TV shows, movies, television, whatever. And 2 years into that, I made it my way to the top. I worked with Michael Jackson. I worked with Prince. I worked with Paul Abdul. I worked with Hugo Iglesias. I traveled the world. I did it for 15 years. I was in Thailand for 4 months.
Wow. What are some of the notable songs that you're in for Michael Jackson, Julio
Michael
Iglesias?
was the Earth Song. The Earth
Okay.
Song. It was a special for MTV Awards. He did a special with Slash. Slash came in with the guitar, blew the car up, and then we came in with the Earth Song right behind it. Prince was Get Off. If you remember the yellow jumpsuit with his pants cut out, his butt was cut out of his pants.
I'll have to
You remember
YouTube
the
it. I'm gonna YouTube it after this.
MTV Awards? He's wearing a yellow suit, like see-through kind of lacy thing, and his butt is cut out, literally. This mesh on his butt. So he's showing his butt crack. I was on the floor next to him looking up at, wow, really? Happy trail all the way up. Like, dude. Anyway, so that's Paul Abdul, like, actually we did dance workshops around the country for 2 years.
And what was
Dance
your
workshop
experience like
destination.
with them? Was it a positive experience?
I don't want to say. Michael was cool. Prince was not. Paula was Paula.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll leave it at that.
So please, I'm still here in the world, right?
Right.
so, uh, so
Well, I'm sure dealing with high performers like that, of course, they're going to be demanding. It's probably it's a stressful
eh,
environment.
no,
So,
it's not. You don't. I'm telling you, I've been around the celebrity world. You do not want to be in that world. I don't want to be in that world. I do not want to be famous. I don't want any of that crap. It's not a good life, and I can
right.
explain to you why and how. But this is why they all get in trouble.
What is it? What is it about fame that and it seems like it always has an adverse effect for
Well,
for most people.
yeah, it's addictive, and it's a rush. It's a trying to hang on to it, trying to,
Right.
and the desperation. So
Staying relevant, trying to stay
staying
relevant.
relevant, staying young, staying whatever, and it's a drug, and they're just trying to stay on top, and they do some crazy stuff, and they also get in trouble because they have so much space and money, right? Like, people don't really understand that, but if you're Mariah Carey, you can't go to the mall, you can't go to the park, you can't go to an amusement park, you can't walk your kids
If you
anywhere.
do it, you're going to be swarmed.
Well, you can't because, yeah, you get attacked, you get swarmed, and it's scary for everybody. It's
All it takes
actually,
is one crazy person
but they're
to
crazy. I know. I mean, when I was at Paula, like, a lot of time we didn't have security, so I was becoming security in spaces, and people lose their minds, right? And she's this big, and she'd be all big eyed, like, get me out of here. That was just kind
right.
of grab her and sweep her, and, like, all of a sudden backwards in the, through the kitchen to. It's crazy. It's actually very scary, especially if you're a girl. But it's madness. It's super madness. So what happened is these people end up. They have money. They have nothing to do, and they have to hide in their house or their their friends' houses, right? Their posses. They all have a posse, people that they typically sort of known for years. But understand that what comes with that is boredom.
Right.
And it's happened to us on the road. Like, all we did is dance and party and dance and party and dance and party. So what happens is the party keeps getting higher, higher. In order to have fun, you have to up it. So this is the
Right.
same with those guys. So if you get the homies coming over playing pool all day, that gets boring very quickly. So now we're bringing the girls and bringing the drugs and it goes right to
And
hell.
that's where people get in trouble, cops get
They,
involved, and then
not only that,
the
but,
tabloids.
the tabloids, but I mean, getting arrested,
Right.
do some crazy stuff, and then drug rehab, one after the other, all of them at one point,
Yeah.
because it's just anyway. So not really a good life. It sounds glamorous, it
It's
sounds
not
amazing.
sustainable. It's definitely
It
not sustainable.
it's too much. 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 And these people, like, are not happy. Michael's dead. Prince is dead. Like, they don't sustain anything. Marilyn Monroe, 30. Like, it's not sustainable. It's not a good life. It's a flash in the pan. It's amazing. It's exciting. But
And then
anyway, so
you probably know this. It seems like a lot of them, let's say maybe they want to take a break or they want to retire, they get pressured not to stay in because there's
absolutely,
so many people making money off of them, all the
that's it.
agents, the managers.
Yeah.
So they get pressured. They're basically forced to continue performing.
Yep.
Uh,
Now, Michael, at the end, the reason why he went back on the road is because they forced him back because he had so many debts that the record label plus the companies that owned him, because he was owned.
right.
He he spent, so they forced him back on the road to make up for the money that he'd spent, that they said that he owed him, because they put him on the map in the first place, and he ended up dying like 2 weeks before starting because he was incapable of doing this. He was 51 years old. You know, he was a junkie.
And you know it as a professional dancer, I'm sure it takes a toll on your body. So you have to take probably pain medication to deal with the
That's what
pain.
I'm saying. And that's what he was on, trying to
Right.
sustain all this. And he was not, he was frail. He was sick. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't sustain, like, and he was going to be on the road for like 52 weeks,
Wow.
right? Like a world tour. And if you like, you've seen him perform, like, he gives it all.
Right.
right? He couldn't at 51, not in the shape that he was
Of
in.
course not. He should have been retired.
But they
Right.
forced him into it, like you said.
Right.
Another reason is at the time that nobody knows this. By the time that he died, he had 35 lawsuits against him.
Wow.
That's what happens to celebrities. Everybody's after you, right? You have
Right.
money, and they'll make some shit up.
There's a target on your head.
35 freaking lawsuits. You want to talk stress? I went to court one time in my life, and I lost my mind. The stress
Right.
of it.
Yeah.
35 never stops.
One lawsuit will consume your life.
Yeah.
35. I cannot
Nobody
fathom.
knows this, but this is what they deal with,
Right.
right? They're constantly in hypervigilance and under scrutiny, under attack. They can't live. They can't go anywhere.
Right.
It's a horrible life. Anyway, so I did it. I
You
made
did
it
it. You
up
got a
all the
taste
way
of
up.
it. You're like, no, okay,
Yep,
I'm
yep.
good.
And then and I was, completely fine doing it the way I was doing it, but I didn't want to you don't really become famous as a dancer. You end up dancing with a lot of famous people, which gives you a lot
Right.
of clout. And if you're going to keep dancing, because we dance and we perform and then we teach. So, it's very easy to fill up a class when you come back from Michael Jackson. Do you know what I mean? So there's a business model there. Choreographing, producing, directing, like that was Thailand was exactly that. I was that directed a produced and directed a concert for the pop female star. I was there for 4 months. Amazing.
Wow.
All my stuff, all me, myself, and I. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't have to play the game, if you want. Um, But, like, my wife was one of my students. Oopsie, right? Well, where else are you gonna meet the girl, right? In class with 45 others. It was always
Right.
me and 45 girls my whole life. Me teaching 45 girls, 2 guys once in a while, but as a rule, it's me with 45, 50 beautiful young girls,
Yeah. I
right?
mean, there's nothing if you guys got along and it's consensual. It's obviously all good. She's your wife.
Well, but she came into class one day, and I'm like, "Oh, that's the girl," because I was looking for the girl. I was ready to settle, and she walked in, and that was it. I knew in 2 minutes, and the rest is history. But she came from the East Coast, and she was a professional. She was a ballerina. She was a prima ballerina in two companies back east, one after the other. She was here vacationing. Was going to go back to her contracts as ballerinas. It's hard to get a job, and you don't. When you get a contract, this is your livelihood. You hang on to it. She came here for a vacation, got into my class. We met, and she decided not to go back to Virginia, and that became our story. So my girl, and anyway, so we're both performers, right? Different phases. I mean, I'm a commercial jazz dancer. She's a ballerina, so we work in different, but we're still in the industry. And so that was phase one of my life was the dancing, the traveling the world. Phase two became my wife, and within a few years, because we traveled and continued dancing for years until we decided to start a family. And I intuitively I knew that I had two kids coming through us. I met them in a dream. Don't ask me. And so we we started a family, and this is when I got off the road. And like you said, my agent went crazy because she's
Less
like, "Are you
money.
less
Right.
money, right? Then were
Right.
you crazy? What you get?" I'm like, "Stop, stop, stop.
Right.
My life, my choice. Okay, deal with it,
The
right?"
agent's got to respect
I'm telling you, but
not just your decision, but your right to be able to move on and transition to something else, right? The
yeah.
next chapter of your life.
But like you said earlier, like there's a lot of pressure if you're a celebrity to like kind of keep the machine going for everybody that is benefited. Like typically 300 people benefit off your success. Like it's
Right.
wild,
Right. You're
right?
essentially a company,
You
right?
are, and
Yep.
you're a it's not a service. What's the word? It's you're a commodity
Right.
to the machine that's behind you, with you, around you. That you're, with endorsements and everything. I mean, it's crazy. It's wild. People have no idea. You don't want that life. Do not fly to Los Angeles trying to become an actor, thinking you're gonna have a good life. Like,
And there's some people out there that will do whatever it takes to
right?
attain that.
And that's another layer. I don't want to go there, but that's a whole other layer. It's quite insane. But um, so when we decided to start a family, I quit and I said to my agent, I'm just going to do the work in town. I'm not going anywhere any longer if it's not in Los Angeles. Everything's here anyway. So, right. But it's not a lot of the work you get here and you fly out. You get here and you fly out. You get here and you, right. Um, and she's, what are you going to do? I go, I want to start a new business. So I opened a car repair shop in Los Angeles. I'm a car guy. I love cars.
Oh, nice.
I have 8, classics.
What do
So
you would you was it a specific type of car that you guys work on, or
I'm
like
I'm
antique cars, or
well, I started as it was going to be a habit. It was going to be it would allow me to restore cars that I love, right? Because in Los Angeles, they're everywhere still because they don't rust. Back east, they're gone. So things that don't exist any longer anywhere else are like right here in the desert. Just wild, you get to restore them, bring it back to life. But the business model was it was a repair shop. It was a body shop, so collision repair, but also get to fix and play with my cars on the side. So, but the excitement was really fixing cars, fixing classics, bringing it back to life.
I bet.
So it's easy business in Los Angeles, more or less. There's a lot of cars here. You know what I mean? Like there's no lack of collision. 6-lane freeways everywhere. Everybody trying to get there at 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay, that works. The same thing anyway. So that was instantly successful. So I really didn't get a chance to really miss dancing. It just went from one fire to the next fire. But that allowed me to have my 2 kids, buy a house, and
It definitely seems like a more stable
yeah,
job, right?
it was a whole different world. It was, there's always something to give, right? There's something else to give. So when I was dancing, I had the freedom of no schedule and fly around the world and live like, an elite. And when I stopped doing that, the luxury became my business was 6 minutes from my house. I don't have to go to the airport any longer. I mean, it sounds glamorous, right? But the airport, the freaking
No,
airport.
no, no.
You know what I
You
mean?
you lose a whole day. It's exhausting.
It's there. It's horrible. Like, so like I'd done it enough. So to me, to drive 6 minutes to be
Yeah,
in my office and not to go anywhere, and people come to me as opposed to me go to them. That was a whole different reality. But then I'm bound to 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Half days on Saturdays, so I lose my freedom. But it's a different machine. So it's a price to pay on both sides. Nobody's got it.
of course.
But people don't realize that. They always think, oh, it is, the grass is greener. If I could, yeah, there's a price to pay. So
Right.
everything comes with a price. So, but that allowed me to raise my kids to be present, to not be out of the country when they were little. Like I wanted to be present, like my parents weren't really. So the school was 2 blocks away. The shop is 6 minutes from my house. So me and my wife, both of us were at every recital, every parade, both of us always present. And that was by design, and that's my choice. So that's phase 2 of my life.
That's good. I like that. I like the
Yeah.
fact that, you prioritize being a good parent, being present for
Well,
your
again,
family.
yeah, in reaction to my own life. Do
Right.
you know what I mean? I knew what it's like to not have that.
Right. You knew the
So,
pain that it could cause.
right. So I
Right.
was going to do exact opposite. So it was exact opposite. Now,
That's
this
awesome.
that's good for the kids, right? And if I didn't go through this, I might not have that awareness. I would have stayed on the road, when they're 3, 4, 5, 6 years old,
Right.
and wondering what daddy is.
What was I mean, becoming a parent, transitioning from a
Woo,
professional dancer to becoming a
woo.
parent. I mean, that must have been I'm sure there's a lot of pressure points at that point. What was the biggest I guess obstacle you had to overcome?
I don't know if it's an obstacle necessarily because we were both ready, right?
Okay.
And even though there's no real like right time, we'd wind up into knowing it was going to happen. So, um, the biggest thing for me that nobody talks about is what it does to your brain,
Hmm.
right? There's life before a baby and there's life after a baby. And your entire sense of reality shifts the moment that little head pops out. Like, I remember I was cool. She was pregnant. I was hugging her belly. I was talking to my son, but it never became real until I saw him, like, literally, like, crown, and I lost my shit.
Now
Like,
that baby becomes a priority.
it was here, it was a reality. It was all, even though she's pregnant, I know what's happening. Like until I saw the top of his head, it was never completely real. And I just like, oh, what did we do? Right? And now it's my responsibility, and it's so fragile and small. And anyway, so and what people never talk about, I don't know why, because I'm going to start teaching this stuff because it's not fair. I don't think it's fair. I didn't think it was fair to not know this, but there's a period after baby number one where your entire reality shifts. all of a sudden, what are we doing to the planet? All of a sudden, what's the world going to be like when he's 20? What's that like? You question everything. You start list. You see the world completely different. I I'm a car guy. I have my car's very fast because I'm one of those who likes to be in front of the line, even though there's no front of the line in Los Angeles, but I'm always trying to get in front of the line. All right. So I drive like a douchebag, put a baby in the car, and I'm like, hey, hey, you're tailgating me. Get the hell off of me. Like, I'm a different dude, right?
Right.
I'm protective. Like, it just changes everything. It's ridiculous. And part of that is it starts messing with your brain. Like, and I don't know how to explain that other than that. Like, it takes, for one, I'm a researcher geek, so I research everything. So I look at musician, but I'm a geek. So started researching that, and it takes 14 to 18 months, depending on the parents, for both mom and dad, for their brain to completely shift into this new reality. I don't know if I could curse. Can I curse?
Go for it.
It's a mind fuck that nobody talks to you about. I don't know why. And so in the overprotective, everything that comes in like like instinctually, like you become so protective and so aware and so it makes you crazy. You lack sleep. You wonder what the world's going to turn out like this. And it's not just me. This is like this data on this. Like this is what happens. Women don't sleep for the first year because every 3 hours a baby needs something, and you know what I mean. Like it's whoa, tornado physically, tornado mentally, and your brain keeps flashing back to I'll give you an example. And again, when I start talking about this to my friends, they're like, yeah, me too, I thought I was going crazy. Like one of the ways to survive my son, because he's a hyper little monkey when he's a baby, an infant, a toddler, but one of the way we survived him is in the pool. So I would take him in the pool with me, right? Sit on the step, and he splash, a splash, a splash, a splash, a splash, a splash, a splash, duck him under. He would laugh, splash, like for hours. Like that was a way to survive him. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And so as I'm holding him in the pool, this was a regular occurrence, but like in the process of the brain awareness changing, hypervigilance, whatever, your brain kind of flashes to, well, what if I didn't? And I remember thinking, I'm holding him, and I go, if I just let him go, he would sink to the bottom and just die. What the hell is wrong with
Right.
me?
Right. Right.
But I
Just
actually saw it,
these dark, intrusive thoughts.
saw it in my head, right? A friend of mine would I kind of shed. Nobody talks about that. Tell me why. You need to know that you're okay. That it's normal. It's again your brain sort of polarizing back and forth and trying to readjust to a new reality that is mind-boggling. One of my buddies said, "God, I thought it was nuts too." He goes, "At one point, his wife was out. The baby was like a toddler, little girl, and he put her to sleep and put her on the floor next to him on the couch, and he took a nap. And when he woke up from his nap, she's laying on the floor, and he's like, "Hmm, what if I just step on her little neck?"
Oh my gosh. These are dark,
I know,
intrusive
but
thoughts.
why don't we talk about this?
I don't know.
I don't understand.
I don't have any kids, so I've never been in
But
this
the
situation
people who
before.
do
But
need to be
I'm not
warned.
surprised though.
Right? The people who do would have to be warned because like you're not crazy, you're not a maniac, you're not a psychopath, but
Well,
for a minute you
the
are.
scary thing is that there are some, parents in dark places out there who have acted on those intrusive thoughts, which
Absolutely. But like again, there's a bunch of reasons for that as well, honestly. But to a normal person, this happens.
right,
That's weird. Now,
right.
please, if somebody had told me, by the way, you're gonna have all some crazy thoughts about, and your whole life's gonna change, and see the world in different space completely. And even if I say that to you, you'll never understand what that means till it happens, right? Just be ready for like a year and a half of complete like, what in the hell is going on here, and who am I, and how am I gonna survive this?
Right.
And then it stabilizes. And then you're like on the other side, you now have a daddy brain and you have a mommy brain, and the whole system comes together with a readjusted reality. And then the beautiful thing is after that shift, the second kid, I had only two, but my sister's got three. It's cake because your brain's already adjusted. So you worry so much with the first one, the second one, like, yeah, he's fine. Yeah, she's okay. Yeah, she'll be all right. Yeah, let's get the cheap diapers. Yeah, she'll sleep it off. Because you're in a new space and you're now in the daddy mommy energy, and gets this groove to it. So phase two was a kick in the head, right? That way. But That's what we
Would you
chose.
say it makes you a better human being, being a
Oh my
parent?
god. Oh my god. I mean,
Not
one of the
not necessarily better, that might not be the right way to put it, but more considerate to the
it's a different
community, to the
reality.
environment.
It's a different reality. Like it just like it changes the reality completely. Like everything matters all of
Right.
a sudden. Everything matters. And for me, like one of the things that was I think it was fascinating is I didn't expect that at all. And again, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's the best thing I've done is having my kids. That changed me forever. And part of it was I got to relive my childhood with them. My
That's
shitty
probably that might be
think
probably
about
the
that.
coolest part, right?
Yeah,
Being able
like
to relive your childhood and just passing that on.
my shitty childhood got rewritten as I lived it through them. I got to
Right.
ride them on. I have to put them
You
on the
get a
back of the
second
bike.
chance, essentially.
All right, I wrote, I put him in the back of the bike, and we go like bike riding and for little helmets and stuff, and playing in the pool, and every year they're a different person. It's amazing to watch them from a baby to a toddler till they start speaking, right? And then they say no, okay, right? You can't wait for them to speak, and all of a sudden you go, damn, remember when they didn't speak? Same thing when they start walking. You're like, I can't wait, he took his first step, and then you go, shit, because you're always running after them. My son would like bolt. 2.5 years old. You open the door, he would bolt, and there was no coming back. You had the park, bolt, right? You had Target, bolt. Like always chasing him down because he's a little testosterone little monkey. But that's how they do, right? Like, but Jesus, like, so. But at 2 and at 3, when they discovered themselves, they discovered the world, they discover like one of the things that would crack me up that was terrible at the same time. But it's all these challenges when they get to be about 2 years old and they realize they have an effect on their environment. They're walking, they're touching, they're grabbing, right? So my son discovered how much fun it was to grab the tablecloth and pull because it
Hmm.
made a whole lot of noise
Right.
because everything fell off the table. He thought that was great, you know. And one time he was more than 3. I was sitting in the living room and I have a big bay window, a sliding door, and the kitchen in the corner, and the balcony was kind of fenced in. So from outdoor patio area, he couldn't get down. The pool was down below, like 4 steps down. The pool was right there. So he couldn't get to the pool because he was fenced in. And one time I'm just sort of watching him go back and forth between the kitchen outside, and he's giggling. He's just giggling back and forth. He thinks it's really funny. He's 3 years old. Like I'm watching something, I'm distracted. I can tell. Because, so eventually I got up. He climbed on the chair. I have all my stuff on the counter, at the kitchen counter. He would climb on the chair, grab my keys, go outside, and throw them over the railing into the pool. My phone, my wallet, everything went into the pool because he liked the kaploosh, and he thought it was very funny. So he grabbed everything he could and threw over the pool.
Okay, so you're in phase two. You're a family man, more stable life. You're running a
Hmm.
business.
Hmm.
Um, so you're happy, right? You're happy
Yeah,
in this
good. I'm
moment.
elated. I'm elated.
And
I live the dream. I'm working hard, but I'm not, I'm not, it's my kind of go-to almost too much, right?
and
I'm,
then
a-
and when did you transition to phase three, where you become
okay. Well,
a coach?
so the curious mind of the 5-year-old, the on trying to understand the human condition was always present. And my brain is curious by nature. So I want to know everything about everything. I've always been like this. My older brother's the same. It's a mindset. It's born that way. So throughout all of this, starting at 23, I started taking personal development classes, workshops. My friends would go, "Let's go to the beach." I go, "Yeah, I'm in a workshop this weekend." They go, "You're so weird." I go, "No, you go ahead and mess around on the beach. I'll be learning something." Like I had so many pieces missing. I felt, from my childhood, and really didn't know who I was. I needed to wrangle myself in every way possible, personal development, but it's business development, it's money development, is like this is. So I was always that guy. I was always in a workshop, digging, learning, and learning some tools and to create the life that I wanted. So I remember it was part of the getting to Michael Jackson and the big dogs was because of that. To know that I'm worthy of with all the effort that I put in. to hit it big. Like
Yeah,
this all
constant self-improvement is what led you
completely.
to
And so,
these big moments.
yeah. So it was like I remember the celebration the day I got that job with Michael, and went back to the workshops, and like just doing cartwheels for me. Like this is how you get to the life. Like you do the work, right? Anyway, so constantly in workshops. So in 2006, I had taken my business with the knowledge that I have as a male at the time. I had taken my business as far as I could, and I kind of felt stuck, and I wanted to blow the ceiling off. So of course, I take a business workshop, right? So I end up in San Jose, California, which is Northern California, um, in a 3-day workshop. In that workshop, I met a lot of good people. On the flight back to Los Angeles, I'm sitting in the same row as this couple. Now, again, just like me being at that party in Hollywood to get my first professional job that seemed random, me getting scholarship after scholarship that seemed random, like my life was an avalanche of linear things that got me. So the flight to Los Angeles from San Jose that day, sitting with a couple, thought was random. Another pivotal moment in my life that create phase three. The lady says to me, she goes, uh, what do you do next weekend? And I go, next weekend I'm free. Why? She goes, you want to come to a workshop? It's on me. I go, absolutely. I say yes before I know what it is because I know I'm going to learn something. Even if it's about watermelons, I'll work something. You know what I mean? Like I'm that
Right.
guy. And then I ask the question. I go, what's the workshop? She goes, oh, it's called Understanding Women. Really? Now, when I tell my friend the story, they always come back with, is there such a thing? That's ridiculous. For me, it was not that reaction. For me, is because I have an artistic personality. I'm a dancer. I'm connected. I'm spirited, whatever, right? I always, and I couldn't explain that to you before. And I know now how that worked, but at the time I didn't know. But I always attracted sweet women. Like when you meet my wife, you see my wife, you go, oh, wow. Like she's a sweet, angelic, feminine, sweet woman, right? She's the ballerina. She nurtures her students. Like she's an angel. You know what I mean? That's what attracted me to her in the first place. But I always attracted that type. I didn't do the crazy stuff my friend did with the yelling and like I just attracted sweet women. And so I thought it was me. I thought I knew something, though I couldn't have explained it. I couldn't know explain that. Just I thought it was me. Anyway, so understanding women, I'm gonna spend a weekend workshop. The cat decided to join it. Jealous. He was jealous of the
What's your
screen.
cat's name?
That's Theo.
Theo. Great name.
Theo is just jealous of the screens. Too much time looking at not at him. Um, so my reaction was like, oh, I'm gonna spend 2 days understanding women, really, right? And not that I was arrogant. It was more like I got this. Like I don't really struggle with this, you know. So I went in there a bit backwards. I went because I said I would. So I was there. I keep my word. That's part of my go-to. Um, thought it was gonna be cute. I walked in there. There was one of the big hotels by the airport, LAX, and I walked in the room first thing in the morning. There was 400 people in there in the big ballroom. I'm like, ooh, okay, not cute. Like there was something in the air. I realized I'm glad I'm here. Don't know why, but I'm glad I'm here. Something is big here. And sure enough, 300 women, 100 men, which I thought was odd. What are women doing here? Like
Right.
if you had a workshop called Understanding Men, there would be not one dude in there. So we
Right.
have a workshop called Understanding Women, and 3/4 of the audience is women. That's what? Anyway, so I understood later on it was pretty well, it was strategic. Strategic. They put women around each man. And because in between the moments of teaching, we actually would check in with the ladies about what we just learned. Because I'm going to tell you this: and a guy who thought he knew women, a guy who's got a wife and 2 kids, and is going well. I slipped off my chair 7 times throughout the workshop, like on the floor, off my chair. Like, cannot believe what I just heard. And again, the workshop lady would stop and go, just so you don't think it's me who's crazy, check with the ladies around you. And they go, no, yeah. Well, how do you that's how we are. But that would make me crazy. Well, sometimes we are, like, and we don't want to talk about it, right? Like confirming everything I just but I mean, things you can't imagine, dude. Like you cannot imagine how different to us they are, how they operate differently, why they take everything personally. It's not because they're crazy. There's a really good reasons
Also,
for that.
the tricky thing is that, you know, it's important not to generalize, right? Saying all women think this way, all men think this way, because
Well,
it's definitely case by case. I mean,
there's no such
per,
thing. However, there is streaks. So when we talk about men and women, masculine and feminine, this is my work now, full time. Is yes, there's generalization. Yes, men need respect first. Yes, women need to feel cherished first. That's factual. So 80%, the norm, we call the norm, is that everything in life has an 80-20 rule. The norm is the 80% of things, right? That is normal, general. And the 20% is the hybrids. Everybody's different, yes, but there's streaks in man that are guidelines instinctual that drives us. It's like in women. So there's no such thing as all men, all women, but there's definitely very big things that yes, most men, yes, most women, and this is the things we look into, and then we dissect them because everybody's individual. But you'd be amazed how we are very much wired in. Like a sheepdog's a sheepdog because they have generations of being sheepdogs. And you don't have to teach a sheepdog to be a sheepdog. The more they
right,
see a sheep, they do it.
right.
It's in their
They
bodies,
were
right?
bred to do that
The
specifically.
same with us, hunter gatherer. There's a system in place that is ancestral, that is ancient, that's driving us, and we think we're better than that. We're not. We're driven by that constantly. Hunter gatherer, male, female, masculine and feminine, as just two different machines. Now, what's tricky is that we both have masculine and feminine within us, right? That's how you calibrate it. And some men are inverted; they're too feminine. Some women are inverted, too masculine. Creates a whole lot of problem because it's against nature. But culturally, that happens a lot because we flip the script on everyone. This is my work right now, by the way. So, yeah, such a thing as masculine and feminine, and nature drives everything to this, and still to this day. So when we go against nature as men and women, this is where life gets tricky, complicated, and you will pay. There's a price to pay for going
That's where
against
you
nature.
cause friction, right? In real,
Frictions, chaos, fighting, destruction, murder. I mean, seriously, it's not pretty, right? So again, if you understand the dance of relationships, right? There's a yin yang, there's masculine and feminine, there's this nature is polarized. Everything in nature is polarized, masculine, feminine, yin yang, black, white. Like everything, one cannot exist without the other. But in our culture, we decide to equalize this. Men and women are equal. Well, no. Sure, equal in importance, equal value, but they're not the same because now it's transgress into men and women the same. So a guy's supposed to be sweet, sensitive, and talk about his vulnerability and feelings to be a good man. No, not one woman really wants that because the guy is too soft and she doesn't feel safe with him. And go girl, boss babe, it's the only way to go because you can't trust men. They're toxic, dangerous, and they're cheaters. Really? Really? How's that going to work out? So masculine women, we masculinize women, we feminize the man. We flip the script completely, and we wonder why it's a shit show out there, because it's a shit show out there because it's not working, right? It should, on paper, it should work. Like we equalize the playing fields. It's the worst. It works for money and career and business, but in relationship, it's the kiss of death. This is what I deal with every single day.
so you started a company called Project Equinox,
I did,
and
I did,
that's what you do. So you take in
yeah,
clients, you do an assessment,
yeah.
and break that down for us. Like, let's say someone out there right now listening is looking for advice in their own relationship.
Well, it's
Uh,
beyond advice, right? So you have to understand that, oh God, the psychology part of it, right? By the way, I have 5 masters with which I train to get here. So it's not my own research, though it is, but it's the 5 masters that I train with in different aspect of human behavior, life, and relationships. The first workshop that I took with Alison Armstrong was she's all about anthropology and our instincts and human animal, human spirit, like men and women, as like the ancestry of our drives that we just talked about, 80-20, right? Like there is man or man, and there's a reason for them. They're, generations of grooming to be hunters and gatherers. So that's a huge thing that we don't think it applies to us any longer in culture because we're like educated and evolved and right? Like socialize. Your caveman is running you like 90% of the time. You have no idea. And same with the ladies. So that's an interesting kind of just dissecting our behavior.
well, that's why I do jujitsu and Muay Thai and going to the gym to satisfy those
That
primitive
drive.
urges.
I'm
Yep.
saying, I'm telling you, but most people don't really kind of really understand the mechanics of it and why and the instinct of it all. It's quite fascinating and it's really beautiful. Anyway, so so understanding our instincts, like uh primary drive that are still driving us today. Again, we think we're better than that. We think we're beyond that, and we're not. And then it's not obvious until you start doing the work and understanding why women do this, why men do this, and then we're completely different. So we often trip each other up. Women want us to be more like them, men want women to be more like them. It's never going to work. It's never going to work. It's never going to work. It's not the design. It's the opposition is the design. Come together to create a new entity, a new dance, I call it, right? So look behind me. This is my wife and I ballroom dancing. Those are the metaphors of relationship. It's not the same. It's complementary. It's two different pieces, completely opposite, coming together to create a dance. So it's a relationship. That's my work. Right? I come from a dance background, so the metaphors are beautiful.
Right.
So
Learning how to create harmony in the relationship.
learning how to dance. We don't know how to dance any longer, right? We dismantle the roles, and there's no role models. There's no healthy relationships. Everybody watch everybody crash and burn. Nobody wants to commit. Everybody's afraid, right? Men are toxic, dangerous. You can't trust them, and they cheat. Really? So
Also, in
you make
today's age, social media and dating apps, I think, have made
all
it
of that,
incredibly difficult
right?
to stay in a committed relationship.
But primarily, men are made to be the enemy and dangerous. So if you're going to make half the planet the enemy, ladies, how the hell is this going to work? It's not, right?
We
So then it
we
becomes much easier for
we
women to
come in
step into
peace.
the what?
We come in peace.
We
Us
come in
men.
peace.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
men are not the enemy at all, right? Now, the toxic ones, the ones who abuse women, the ones who cheat, rape, con, lie, steal, those are boys.
Right.
This is not men, right? In my world, there's three types of men. So you want to avoid the boys because they're the one doing all the toxic stuff. Natural males provide, protect, cherish, give, support, lead everyone, women, children, and anybody who needs help, right? This is nature. But now we have this belief that all men are, it's a shit show. It's not working and it's not true, right? So that's a big problem out there. So if you put men as the enemy and constantly, you know, reiterate that to ladies, well, who wants to get in a relationship? Who wants to get their heart broken? Who wants to invest in something that he's a cheater? He's toxic. He's trying to control. Really? So nobody does it. So women step into the money lane, I call it, right? Go into the business world. It's easier to build a business than to build a relationship. And the disconnect gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And on the other side of it, all of my clients, 35 plus ladies, they don't have that awareness in their 20s and early 30s. They have that awareness mid 30s forward. They're tired, they're burnt out, they're exhausted. Money doesn't make them happy. They want to chill, they want to rest, they want companionship, often husband and babies. They realize that at 35. And now they want to reverse the whole process back to nature. Now, this is not my opinion. This is just what I see every day, right? I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad. This is literally what I see every day. So again, it's safer to build business and money and get a career and a job than to build a relationship. But eventually, the nature in women, for most women, as in like 97%, want companionship, want a relationship, want a man, and so do men. So there's a lot of data on this, right? For both men and women. Men and women are happier, make more money, more creative, live longer, healthier, all the goodies when they're in healthy relationships. Both of us. So it's
Of
actually the
course.
primary thing that signals the quality of your life. The first thing, like people that are successful, I'm in Los Angeles, right? Money everywhere. Successful people who can't get the relationship going feel like failures. Their life quality is down the toilet, even though because that's the primary for all of us. So to make men the enemy, to scare women into committing, and men, because men also can't say anything any longer because they get canceled so quickly. So men are afraid, women are abandoned. It's not working. So the reframe is really kind of recalibrating the dance. And that's my work. All of us have never met somebody who's not been damaged in childhood, as you, right? The formative years between 5 and 11, everybody gets their butt kicked by life, whether it's like abuse, neglect, or abandonment issues. some people that have all three plus sexual abuse, right? Like the things that happen to little kids. And again, it's not necessarily, you know, we make we like for me, like I don't belong here was my go-to for my circumstances. Now, if you talk to my mother, that's not really what was happening. But the conclusion that I made about me and my life became my path and became what I had to prove on some level. Do you know what I mean? So if you, and again, this becomes a belief
Would you say
system.
that most people probably feel that way? Maybe not at that extreme level, but they feel that way until they find their purpose in life.
Well, I think what I see, what I know that I do every day is that everybody is one somewhere. Nobody gets out of childhood unscathed. Abandonment, neglect, and abuse issues of all kinds. You don't have to abuse a kid. I think it's interesting is one of the worst thing to do to a kid is um, abandonment issues will destroy a kid, boy and girl for life. Like to be abandoned. So what happens? We conclude that we probably must be a terrible person, kid, because my parents didn't love me right. Do you know what I mean? And then we literally make it believe that I'm not lovable. That's a big one for the ladies. Not lovable, not worthy. For men is same thing. I'm not capable. I'm not good enough. Right? It goes into your subconscious. That's five, six, seven. Typically, right there in that pocket, and then you go through life proving that. So what happens is you know this in relationship when you attract the same type person over and over and over. It's your subconscious. It's your belief system. If as a woman you don't believe you're good enough, you can attract guys that will treat you that you're not good enough. And that's the travesty of being human. We don't make choices. We think we do. We're on cruise control, driven by our subconscious.
Yeah.
So it's only when you start seeing the loop and realize I can't get out of this, something's wrong with me. Well, it's not something's wrong with you. It's the belief system that you create as a kid, the conclusion from your life circumstances that you keep proving. So we have to dismantle that. So the first part of the work is releasing the baggage from your nervous system, releasing the false belief. You know what I mean? And to get clear headed, to actually have that driving force neutralize. And then understanding, your talent, your beauty, and then like designing the future that you want out of the damn loop. And this is why everybody comes at me 35 plus, because it's at that time, boys and girls, men and women, where you push through your pain, you push through your life, you think you're gonna leave it all behind and just conquer the world and or like prove yourself, and then midlife everybody gets hit right in the face because all your crap smacks you right in the face, and you can't keep going, and you can't keep like forcing or willpowering your way through. It catches up to you, and
Yeah.
then you have to do the work. And this is what these are all my clients. This is all everybody gets hit in the head and dead stop somewhere in midlife. And so you have a chance to redo it. You have the chance to clean it up, and that's called doing your work.
Right.
Oof, I could do this all day long.
All right. So to wrap it up, I like to ask this question. So
Yes,
I
sir.
want you to think the darkest moments of your life, the most amount of pressure. Um, what advice would you give your younger self during those moments?
Oh boy, there was a few of those. Mine was just you got to keep going. Now again, it was preview, and I had the preview to have that little pull, that little tug in my heart, always saying, "You get it? No, no, there's more. It's gonna be worth it. You got to like." So I don't know that everybody has that. I don't know, but for
You're
my
into it.
for
So follow your intuition.
is it was a God whisper. I called it. It was no, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I don't know how to explain it. So that thing just kept me going, and because of the beginnings that are so challenging, it made me really, really, really resilient to everything. So today, from being terrified as a kid onward and having to do everything myself, you can't scare me. You can't scare me. Nothing rattles me. Like nothing rattles me. And now I understand on this side that everything that happens, I'll survive.
That's
So
good.
when things happen, I'm like, okay, well, interesting. So I don't get mad anymore. I don't get like, why, right? Another. I just go, okay, something else to learn because I know I'll come out of it. I'll learn something. I'll be a different guy. I'll learn something from the things that come in life. So I
Right.
don't
It
resent them.
seems it seems like it made you a good problem solver, right? A problem arises, you're okay, no big deal.
No big deal.
Let's figure out a way to overcome
Well,
this.
because I know I'll figure it out because I always have. I've come through much bigger. So like the things coming at me, like okay, we'll work it out and we'll learn something, and I'll be sharper on the other side every time. Will I survive this? Absolutely. Am I gonna work it out? Absolutely. Are we gonna be okay? For sure. Let's go. Whatever. Right? It's a different kind of. It's it makes life much easier,
Yeah.
but it took all of that to get here.
It
You know what I
wasn't
mean?
easy. You had to
No, but
earn.
it's the resilience and that little tug. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And if you get your stuff together, you could actually maybe have the life of your dream. Oh look, that's
Right.
possible. I
Yeah.
can't believe I'm this guy, honestly, compared to where I come from. I can't believe I'm this guy.
Right. Imagine your younger self looking at you now.
Can't imagine, like, cannot, like, nothing, like, nothing. I can't. Gives me a goosebump. Like, I can't believe I'm this guy. Like it's so foreign to where I started from and how I saw myself and the world.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andre.
Absolutely, absolutely.